Welcome to our show, Dr. Stephen Greer, Guiding Peaceful Extraterrestrial Contact and Disclosure, Part 1 of 2. Dr. Stephen Greer is a globally renowned expert on unidentified flying objects, extraterrestrial or ET intelligence and technologies, and peaceful communication with extraterrestrial societies. He has authored 5 books and produced multiple feature film documentaries on ET phenomena, captivating the interest of people worldwide.
Once you conclude that they're real, and they're of interstellar origin, the next question is, what are we going to do about it?
In the 1990s, alongside his career as an emergency physician, Dr. Greer developed the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, or CE5, contact protocols, which are tools to empower humanity to engage in benevolent contact with advanced extraterrestrial citizens. During the same period, Dr. Greer founded the Disclosure Project to expose classified UFO information and advanced energy technologies. Let's discover how Dr. Greer's interest in UFOs and extraterrestrials began in his youth.
My mom's oldest brother worked on the lunar module, that first machine that landed on the moon in 1969. And when I was about 8 years old, I actually saw one of these extraterrestrial vehicles, broad daylight. This would have been about 1963 in North Carolina. And I was with my twin sister and some boys in the neighborhood. So it ignited a lifelong interest.
As a teenager, Dr. Greer developed a severe infection in his leg during a 400-mile bike ride. While lying in bed gravely ill, he lost consciousness and had a near-death experience which profoundly impacted his view of God, the afterlife, and our universe.
I died when I was 17, got very sick, and had a near-death experience. Mm-hmm. I was raised an atheist, but then realized there is a soul, there is a God, and there is no death. It totally changed my life, the eternal perspective.
Yeah. What I learned was the entire cosmos is a conscious, unbounded field of perfect love and awareness and being. And everything, every atom, every photon is conscious. And in fact, it's consciousness itself. But at the core, all of it is pure, unbounded, conscious love. And that's a real realization.
After his near-death experience, Dr. Greer began practicing meditation to reconnect with this higher state of consciousness in his daily life. Then 1 year later, while meditating in the mountains of North Carolina, United States, Dr. Greer had another encounter with the same ET craft he saw as a child.
It was October of '73, and it was in the Southwest. I saw this same ship that I'd seen when I was 8 or 9. And I looked at it, and I felt this immediate connection to it and thought, oh, well, they're back. And it kind of just winked out again, vanished. So I sat and meditated there on the top of this mountain. When I finished, it had gotten dark. I had this really beautiful, deep meditation. At the end of it, I stood up and I looked at the sky, and a thought that wasn't my own entered me and said, behold what a beautiful universe God has made. As that thought ended, I went into exactly the same state of consciousness I was in when I had my near-death experience. Well, a few minutes later, I realized there was a glowing right below the crest of the mountain.
Dr. Greer then saw an extraterrestrial being approaching him.
And he came up to me and touched me on my right shoulder. And in an instant, went on board this craft. And what happened after that is sort of metaphysical, in the sense that we seem to dematerialize and then appear out in space. And I was sitting with these other extraterrestrial beings in a meditative state. I was teaching them what it was like for a young man, to be in cosmic consciousness as a human. And then that's where we met. We met in that state of cosmic consciousness. And then we created what's known as the CE5 protocols, the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocols. That's where they came from. And basically I began to practice this ability with them to see them in the mind's eye and then vector them to a location and have an encounter. And they told me that at some point this would be very important to know how to teach other people.
For over 30 years, Dr. Stephen Greer has conducted the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind event using the CE5 protocols to invite peaceful correspondence between humans and extraterrestrial citizens.
This is when humans actually consciously take an overt step to invite communication and contact for a higher purpose, for the purpose of creating universal peace, peace on Earth and in space. We make contact with them and then invite them to interact with us. And when you see the photos and images of, which you can see in the film, of all the encounters we've had with these beings from other star systems who are traversing through other dimensions to get here.
Throughout the years, many mystifying and fascinating phenomena have occurred during CE5 gatherings. In Florida, United States, two gorgeous golden orbs appeared in the night sky above the ocean.
Oh, whoa. Oh, here they come. There are two. Look at this, how gorgeous.
Oh my goodness.
That is such a beautiful color, so you'll never forget that color. Yeah, this is a major event.
In Arizona, United States, an extraterrestrial being appeared within the CE5 contact group, which Dr. Greer calls the healer.
So it looks like a beak, and it's this round head, and you see the eye socket on the left. There's a light source that was not ours coming from his left, and sort of a feathery tunic. Now, this is about 3 feet from me. We call this ET the healer because he has appeared at other times, and the man right beside him had lost his hearing since he was in middle or high school. What's interesting is that he was healed of his hearing loss. By the next morning, he woke up totally fixed.
During an ET communication in Wiltshire, England, ETs formed a crop circle that inspired the CE5 logo.
Later, Dr. Greer and his team went up to Woodborough Hill in Wiltshire, England. There, they visualized and thought a geometric pattern symbolizing the trilogy of components that make up the CE5 protocols: thought, light, and sound. Immediately, this crop circle appeared in the field nearby.
In the same region, cow people from a nearby field came over to join CE5 participants in meditation.
We were in this big meadow, and there were all these beautiful cows that were in the meadow, and they came around and made a circle around our circle, laid down, and then meditated with us. And we had these amazing contact experiences up on this hill with these cows who joined us in meditation. So when you go into deep meditation, even the grass and the trees and the animals join you in that state of consciousness.
Dr. Stephen Greer believes the extraterrestrials are presently here during this critical time to help protect Earth and encourage humanity to spiritually awaken so we can join our intergalactic family.
Well, the Earth is considered a very cherished place. They see the future of humanity as being very potentially beautiful. They know there's many aspects of humans that are very spiritual, beautiful, creative. And this planet is actually, what we call it, a destination planet. It's so unbelievably beautiful and diverse in life that it's much loved in the cosmos, much loved.
During a live video conference in 2008, our most beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, highlighted that if humanity wants to unite with our cosmic brothers and sisters, then we must reconnect to our divine nature and live by the heavenly standard on Earth.
So they are waiting eagerly. They've been transmitting messages to us that we should develop more so that we can catch up with the whole galaxy system, and that they're always standing by to help us to elevate our level of spiritual understanding, mental capability, as well as technology. But they have only been standing by because we are not ready. And they will not force their will upon us either. However, it's not difficult to change all this. It is easy. It is easy to bring our dream into reality. We will just have to return to our original loving self, because that's what we are. We are love. We are divine. We are compassion. We are all the best in the universe. It's just we forget. Whatever we imagine heaven should be, we must live it. Then the planet will be heaven.
Welcome to our show, Dr. Stephen Greer, Guiding Peaceful Extraterrestrial Contact and Disclosure, Part 2 of 2. Dr. Stephen Greer is a leading authority on identified flying objects, extraterrestrial intelligence and technologies, and initiating cordial relations between humans and advanced interstellar civilizations. He developed the Close Encounters for the Fifth Kind, or CE5 protocols, which are tools and guidelines for humanity to establish peaceful contact with extraterrestrial people. In 1993, Dr. Greer founded the Disclosure Project, which has accumulated more than 750 military, corporate, and governmental whistleblower testimonials and over 10,000 governmental documents providing the presence of UFOs, extraterrestrials, and advanced technologies on Earth.
There seems to have been, over the last 50 years at least, and more, a great deal of secrecy surrounding the so-called UFO event. There have been ET visitation, there have been crashed craft, there have been material and bodies recovered.
We can safely say that yes, there were some captured craft from 1945, or 47 was it? In Roswell, New Mexico, and yeah, they were real. And yes, we really did get some technology from them, and yes, we really did put it to work. They haven't been here for just a few years, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of years.
In 2001, as part of the Disclosure Project initiative, Dr. Greer held a first-of-its-kind event at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., where 22 former governmental, military, and corporate witnesses testified publicly to top-secret evidence of ET phenomena.
There is no evidence, I wish to emphasize, that these life forms from elsewhere are hostile towards us. But there is a great deal of evidence that they are concerned with our hostility.
In 1969, I received a priority message from a ship near Alaska that was classified as secret. The ship reported emerging out of the ocean near Port Bow, a brightly glowing reddish-orange elliptical object, approximately 70 feet in diameter, emerged out of the water, shot into space, traveling at about 7,000 miles per hour.
When I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference.
In 1947, one of the most famed UFO events occurred in Roswell, New Mexico, United States. Dr. Greer shares insights into the truth of this incident and why the ETs came to Roswell.
At the time, people don't know this, Roswell was the only atomic bomb storage facility on Earth. And that's why the ETs were so concerned, because it's not only something that could destroy all life on Earth, but as I mentioned, when you detonate one, it actually rips the fabric of the universe and is destructive way out beyond the Earth and beyond our solar system.
Dr. Greer shares more about how detonating atomic and nuclear weapons on Earth has severe implications for the entire cosmos.
When you detonate an atomic or nuclear weapon, everyone knows what an electromagnetic pulse is.
Right.
What they don't know is what Tesla described as the scalar waves that are, instead of a wave form like this, it's a point of energy that goes out straight line. So it's multiples of the speed of light. That disrupts interstellar communications and travel. That's why all those UFOs have been seen around Roswell and White Sands and all of our nuclear facilities.
Many testimonies gathered by the Disclosure Project reveal extraterrestrials have disabled nuclear and atomic weapons over the last 70 years in a benevolent effort to protect Earth and our universe.
So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, and then this thing flies up like this. Meanwhile, we're all going like this, fires another beam of light, goes around like this, we're going like this, fires another beam of light, goes down like this, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of space.
A couple of nuclear weapons sent into space were destroyed by the extraterrestrials. The one incident, for example, was they actually photographed the UFO following the missile as it climbed into space and shining a beam on it, which neutralized the missile. And this was recorded. It was all hushed up. The idea of any explosion in space by any Earth government was not acceptable to the extraterrestrials, and that has been demonstrated over and over.
Through the Disclosure Project, fascinating revelations have been uncovered about the extraterrestrial presence on our moon and interactions between human astronauts and interstellar people.
We walked over to one side of the lab and he said, by the way, we've discovered a base on the back side of the moon. And then he pulled out one of these mosaics and showed this base, which had geometric shapes. There were towers, there were spherical buildings. There were very tall towers and things that looked somewhat like radar dishes, but they were large structures. There were spherical and domed buildings that were very large. They must be, half a mile in scale.
The first two men on the moon were Neil Armstrong and after him Buzz Aldrin. We reached out to Neil Armstrong because I knew from contacts and family that when we landed on the moon, we weren't alone. There were two people who've been on my team for many years who were good friends of his family. It was made very clear to him and the other Apollo astronauts who witnessed this first event. When we landed at the crater on the moon, the rim at the top of the crater was, quote, crowded with UFOs, the craft that were up there, multiple of them, and that these were filmed. And that I know people personally who've seen that film footage. You have to understand enormous pressure was put on these men never to speak about what actually happened.
The Disclosure Project archive documents many interesting testimonies of human to extraterrestrial encounters, one of which comes from former Air Force Office of Special Investigations Agent Richard Doty.
There was a guy that lived in a remote trailer just outside Dugway Proving Grounds. And he was a photographer. He'd worked he was in the Army as a photographer. We went out and visited this guy. And he tells me that in the latter part of '68, he came home from work. It was a fall day. He goes in, makes his meal, and all of a sudden he hears some noises. And he goes outside and he sees this craft landing in his backyard. And he went in and got his camera. Of course, being a photographer, went out and took pictures. And creatures came out. He took pictures of the creatures. And he has these pictures there. All of them were daytime that I can remember. And they were as clear as you can ever. And he took pictures inside the craft where they showed instrument panels, showed a huge screen with maybe the universe or star charts or navigational charts or something like that. The contact lasted from about the 60s, late 60s, until about 75, 76. And then they told him they were leaving. And they gave him these gifts. And they're star-shaped. There's some of them that were like bronze statues and little models of things. And he said, these are gifts they gave to me.
Wow, this story truly highlights the compassionate nature of our extraterrestrial friends. Even though our planet is currently facing many challenging circumstances, Dr. Stephen Greer is optimistic that humanity will soon come together and evolve into a peaceful, spiritually awakened civilization.
I think we're in for a very rough ride coming up pretty fast, but we'll make it over that, and it'll be a whole new civilization. So I see a time where we'll go forward as a high-tech civilization, but at the same time an increasingly conscious and enlightened civilization, both.
In a dream he had as a youth, Dr. Greer foresaw that a benevolent global human-to-ET contact event will happen in his lifetime.
So I had this dream, and it was this beautiful, clear day. The whole U.S. military was supporting this peaceful contact event between humans and an extraterrestrial vehicle that was descending, and there was a very ancient ET elder that came out of it, and it was televised globally, and the whole world saw it. It was a very beautiful thing.
Our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Stephen Greer and All Disclosure Project whistleblowers who have courageously revealed that extraterrestrials are graciously helping protect Mother Earth and encouraging us to become spiritually enlightened. May your dream be fulfilled so humanity can join our galactic family in the cosmos. For more information on Dr. Stephen Greer, please visit www.drstephengreer.com. To view the Disclosure Project archive, which contains whistleblower testimonials, governmental documents, and information from UFO crash retrieval cases, please visit www.dpiarchive.com.